From an undisclosed place in northwestern Montana, Schlegmeister Productions presents Eric Bissell, looking for the covering. Everything's covered. He's checking it out.
Kumiori, kiva arech. Arise, shine. Your light has arrived. The same way Lewis and Clark came to find the Northwest Passage, the way through this wilderness, we have had 2,730 years of a curse of things being covered and buried. Isaiah 29 talks about how Yahuwah, our Elohim, has blinded the eyes, has intoxicated with a narcotic, as it were, but not with wine or alcohol, the ability of the prophets and the wise men to see. Why would he do that? He himself, like this snow blanketing this outdoors here in this beautiful scene, the word schleg in Hebrew is snow, schleg. So we have this treasure map. How do we find our way back? The Torah, Isaiah 60. Arise, shine, for your light has arrived, and the glory of Yahuwah shines upon you. For behold, darkness may cover the earth, and a thick cloud the kingdoms. But upon you, Yahuwah will shine, and his glory will be seen upon you. Nations will walk by your light, and kings by the brilliance of your shine. Lift up your eyes all around the sea. They are assembling and coming to you. Your sons will arrive from afar. Your daughters will be raised at your side. Then you will see and be radiant, and your heart will be startled and broadened, for the affluence of the west will be turned over to you. The wealth of the nations will come to you. Where's the tribulation? Has this happened yet? We got to look closer at these words. An abundance of camels will envelop you? Where's the tribulation? Has this happened yet? Isaiah 61. The Spirit of Adonai Yahweh is upon me. Hey, Yeshua read this when he was at the synagogue. Because Yahweh has anointed me to bring tidings to the humbled, sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, proclaim freedom for captives, release from the bondage for the imprisoned, to proclaim a year of favor to Yahweh and a day of vengeance for our Elohim, to comfort all mourners. It goes on to say, they will be called elms of righteousness, the planting of Yahuwah, which is to glory. They will rebuild the ancient ruins, the wasteland of former times they will restore. Renew ruined cities, generation-old wasteland. Has this happened yet? The world cannot end until this happens, because this is the prophecy. Yeshua just read the first sentence, but what about the rest of this? Instead of your shame, which was double, and disgrace, which they would bemoan as their portion, therefore they will inherit a double portion in their land, and eternal gladness will be theirs. Well, some would say, well, that's going to happen when we go to heaven. That's eternal gladness. But this is in their land. Something has to happen where we get restored to the land. The 12 tribes. Jonathan Cahn wrote this great book called The Oracle. The word oracle is also prophetic utterance or word of Elohim, but he only talks about the Jews. What about the other 11 tribes? Why doesn't he talk about them? We haven't come back yet. This world can't end yet. This isn't the end of the world. There's stuff here that has to happen. For I am Yahweh, Isaiah 61, verse 8, who loves justice. That word justice is balancing of scales. Hates a burnt offering brought with robbery. I will repay their deeds in truth, and I will seal an eternal covenant with them. Their offspring will be known among the nations. Okay, that's not in heaven. That's in this realm of the here and now. Has this happened yet? And their descendants amid the peoples. That's why we're still out in the land. who all will see them will recognize them, that they are the seed that Yahuwah has blessed. Well, that can't be the Jews because everybody scorns them. Nobody looks at the Jews these days, 2019, and says, oh, look, this is the people that Yahuwah has blessed. Even a century ago, less than that, during World War II, everybody hated them. And it's still, this anti-Semitic thing is still going on. So where is the fulfillment of this promise? Ever since the days of Yeshua, it's never been here.
We're searching.
We're searching. Where's the map? I'm suggesting and I'm showing that it's in the alphabet is the map of our return. Yahweh has sworn, verse 62, Isaiah 62, verse 8. Yahweh has sworn by his right hand and by his powerful arm. If he swears by his right hand and powerful arm, it has to happen. He can't revoke this. He has sworn. I will no longer give your grain as food for your enemies, and the sons of strangers will not drink your wine for which you have toiled. For those who have harvested it will eat it, and will praise Yahuwah, and those who have gathered it in will drink it in my kadosh courtyards. It goes on to say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your Savior, your salvation has come. Behold, his reward is with him, and his wage is before him. He will repay. That's the word shofet, or balancing of scales, or dabar, which is the same as word, which is to say that your reward, your pay, as he promised, will happen. People will call them the kadosh people. I'm kadosh, the redeemed of Yahweh, and you will be called sought after, the city not forsaken. Well, that's because Jerusalem has been called the city forsaken. And just since 1967, 1972, the Yom Kippur War, so Israel, the people who call themselves Jews, are in the land, but this hasn't happened yet. The world's not over. We're somewhere along the journey of the map, but it hasn't happened yet. Let's go over here to Ezekiel 20. Verse 34, I will take you out from the nations and gather you from the lands to which you were scattered with a strong hand and an outstretched arm and with outpoured wrath. And I will bring you to the wilderness of nations and contend with you there face to face. Just as I contended with your forefathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so I will contend with you. The word of, this says the Lord Elohim, but that's Yahweh our Elohim. When he says the word of, that's Nam Yahweh. It cannot be revoked. An imperial decree with his signet ring, it has to happen, but it hasn't. What's the wilderness of the nations? Mani Judah talks about that. Wilderness of the nations. Well, that was actually what we call Saudi Arabia. That was this wilderness of the nations? What does it mean by the nations? Well, in Hebrew, the word is Midbar HaGoyim. Midbar HaGoyim. Well, the word Midbar, which is wilderness, also means the place of words or language. That's a place of words. But he's going to take us from or to or in regards to, in reference to, the language of the nations, the Goyim. Well, the word Goyim is related. It's a pluralization of the word Haggah, which literally means to navigate, to steer. So on this treasure map, there's a helm, Haggah, Chok, navigating the instructions, the commands. What is this treasure map? Well, the key to navigating the treasure map, or being able to see what's going on here, there's some binoculars up here with this moose. What is that about? Here's the Hebrew aleph-bet, the first 7 letters. And then you've got a series of 11. There's these 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then these other 5. Well, someone pointed out the other day when we were talking, they said, hey, that's like the spinal column. Yeah, there's a certain aspect of structure. And they said, no, there's 22 vertebrae in the human. There's 7 in the neck, and then 11 down the back. And then, so you got the cranial 7, and then the sacral down at the bottom end, there's another 5. So this same division of the aleph-bet, according to the Mishkan pattern, lines up with the division of the human vertebrae. the Yahweh built as this fractal pattern into our skeletal structure. So is the aleph-bet, got this skeletal engineered design.
That wasn't a coincidence.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
What they call intelligent design.
Yep.
So the point is, I'm gonna decipher this map. Because without the map, it's all just buried in snow. Just real quick, the word for snow being schleg. Snow White, schlegia. Shin Lamed Gimel. But Shin Lamed is error, offense, crime. Shin Lamed Hey, thoughtless, careless, neglectful. Or you're tranquil, whatever, I don't care. Hey, Shin Lamed Hey, led to false hopes, deceived, misled. Shin Lamed Hey, similar to Mem Shin Hey, it means to draw out. So the point is, Lamed Gimel, lag, is where we get the word for legion or leger, logos, speak, declare, discuss, choose words, logical, logia, logarithm, logistics, where we get even the word ology, like Eric-tology, any biology. Any ology has to do with one who speaks certain words in a certain manner of a specific topic. Mem Lamed Gimel Hey, Malaga is scholarship. Malag is Mem Lamed Gimel Vav. Malago is from the inside or esoteric. So to have the ability to reconnoiter words based on inside information. The word Haga is navigate, rudder, helm. It's also where you get the word naut, which is nautical, to steer or navigate, which is where we get the word for navy, navigation. Nun, vav, tet, resh, which would be notar, is a watchman or a guard. So what I'm saying is that these words the words that are having to do with navigating words has to do with the language of the Hebrew. I've said before that the sport of the kingdom seems to be navigating words, spelling words, and that Yahuwah himself plays around with puns. He showed Zechariah, hey, what do you see? An almond branch. Even so, I am industrious and diligent to accomplish my plan, my objective. Well, aleph is a prefix letter, means I am or I will. It's the intent to have a plan unfold and be accomplished. What plan? Well, just the same way that aleph is an ox, or drawn like an ox head, you put a mark out in the distance and the ox pulls the plow. So you open up the earth, drawing a furrow in the land. But there's the aleph, the ox head yoked up, and the tav, the mark of the distance that the ox pulls to. So too, if you're an archer, this is almost shaped like an arrowhead, and you shoot to a tav, a mark in the distance. So where do you start on this map? That's the concept of Yahweh says, hey, I have a plan, and I'm industrious and diligent. So when Zechariah said, I see an almond branch, he says, even so I'm industrious and diligent. Why? Because the word is shakad. Shin kuf dalet is the exact same word for almond and industrious and diligent. And then he says in Isaiah 29, Ariel, Ariel, city where David dwelt, you will be to me like Ariel. What does that mean? The word like Ariel is spelled kaf, aleph, resh, yod, aleph, lamed, and it means ugly, unseemly. But yet Ariel means Lion of God. So the people were saying, Lion of God, this Jerusalem, David dwelt here. This is the flagship of Israel. It's never going down. And Yahweh says, you have become ugly and unseemly, and I'm going to sink that flagship. I'm going to drop it down to the depths of the ocean. We talked about that in the other video. My point is to say, Yahweh will ruin anything that we defile, but then he will restore the truth and the beauty of it. It's all a wordplay, and it's all in the navigating of the Hebrew alphabet. So where do you start?
I don't know.
Well, this is cryptic. It's a bow with a couple arrows, but when I say it's cryptic, it's because one of the earliest forms of the letter aleph was a vertical with two horizontals. I draw it like this, which is more of a 3 lines in a triangle form, and then the English version, as you turn it upside down, it looks like a letter A. But this was one of the primary forms, and I drew it like a bow with a couple arrows. It's the word kashat, which is bow. And the way this works is that every one of these words written is a clue. We're going to try to keep this video to 1 hour. We're probably already almost halfway through, so I don't know if we'll get to every word. But there's a concept here, which is to say, resh aleph hey means to make visible or evident, and this is the word nephalot. Well, in Psalms 119:18, David said, open my eyes that I may see or that I may perceive, be allowed to see, resh aleph hey, the nephalot. Well, this is the word paleo. Nun means to be imparted or caused to be. Vav-tav is plural, or this is the past tense or the future tense. So you have, allow me to see what has been hidden. The wonderful, marvelous things that have been hidden. That's in the aleph-bet. So this is a map of discovery of the wonderful things that have been hidden. And just like slag snow covers and erases, making everything neutral, Daniel, in Daniel 12, verse 4, was told by the archangel Gabriel, hide the words, seal the book. Hiding the words is to make them anonymous in general. You look out here, you don't see all the brilliant colors that were here just the other day. Incredible fall colors, the larch, these golden, basically deciduous conifers, these beautiful pine trees turning yellow and gold and amber, like the colors that are in this wood floor. And now it's all gone. Now it's all made general. It's all obscured. It's all hidden, like what Daniel did by the command of the archangel Gabriel. So for us to try to negotiate, navigate, find our way through what's been hidden is like here we are at the end of the 2,730-year curse, trying to find out, how do we get back? Yahweh said he would bring us back to the land. Yahweh said that he would restore his favor to us, that the peoples of the earth would look at us and go, wow, how can you be so blessed, so baruched? Baruch, the Hebrew word for bless. Well, that hasn't happened yet. I'm expecting it to be any day. I'm expecting it to be today.
Hallelujah.
And that this experience of navigating the language is part of the restoration. So what's this treasure map? Well, what's the letter bet? The point of this treasure map is that each one of these pictures is one of the letters. And if you connect the pictures dot by dot, it'll form another shape just for the fun of it. But if this is aleph, here's X marks the spot, this is a bullseye, that's a tav, and this says segula, otsar. Well, the word segula, we did a video, is choice, best, treasure, the greatest treasure. And otsar is a treasury, like the Azor Islands comes out of this Hebrew word. And it's a treasure box. It's the place that the treasure is hidden. So the place that the treasure is hidden, Yahweh said, if we regard his words and study about his Shem, Malachi 3:16, we will become his choice best treasure, which is the pupil of his eye. Another way of saying it, so this is the center treasure is drawn like the pupil of his eye. How do we get from here to here? We can't just jump there. We have to find our way around this lake, this waterway, just like Lewis and Clark did. There's that lake out there, and I'm trying to show how, just like you've got these little tufts of green and these colors of the map and the colors of the foliage, the brown earth and the colors of the green and brown and the white is just like what's on this map. We're just trying to show a correlation here. Well, right in front of this aleph reference is a frog. What the heck is a frog? In Hebrew, it's zapharda. And rashon is a tadpole, something with a big head. Well, the way you draw the Hebrew letter bet has a head and then his tail reached out. It's the interior consciousness. It's the exterior outreach of your arm. The word zafar is the word like Zipporah. That's a play of the word that Moshe's wife. And it means little bird, to chirp, 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 and tweet, or to croak. Dalet ayin is the word for knowledge. So the word frog means to croak or express cryptically knowledge. And the tadpole, the one with the big head, well, that means you had a great beginning. Well, we had a great beginning. The bet is the first letter in the Torah. And some people have absolutely never seen this. Genesis 1:1 is drawn in the Hebrew with a large letter bet. Like, for example, the word for tadpole a big head. It's drawn like a, they don't start on page 1 here. It's drawn like a sprout. See, in the beginning of Elohim's creating the heavens and the earth. Here, the enlarged letter bet, the big head. So the letter bet is the one with the big head, the tadpole, which speaks knowledge hidden cryptically because it's written in Hebrew. So that's the letter bet. You could look around at any one of these, but I'll just show you. Here, there's a pig throwing a boomerang, and it says Chazira, Shalak, and Gimel Lamed. Well, Shalak means to be ejected or sent on a mission, like a missile. The word Chazir is the word pig. Chazira, well, the word Chazir also means one who returns, like a boomerang. The Gimel and the Lamed, the Gimel and the Lamed, you put them together, and it's like a round rock that rolls, and it really means to roll. Gilgal, I will roll off your shame. Goliath, David took his head off. Golgotha, the place of the skull where Yeshua was crucified. Gimel Lamed is kind of like a yin-yang sort of a picture. That which goes around comes around, which is a picture of Mishpat, the balancing of scales. Yahweh returning a man's way on his own head. We read where Yahweh will no longer give us the grief, which is the payment of our deeds. But he said, just like I made you pay double, I will reward you double. Because that's what comes around, goes around. We are the generation that can see this about to happen right in our presence. And just like the prodigal son who said, gee, I wish I could eat the food of a pig. Well, the word pig in Hebrew is one who returns. So I wish I could eat the food of one who returns. I'm going to go back to my father's house. We, after being 2,730 years in the wilderness of the nations, are going to go back to our father's house, eat at his table. The food of his table is the Hebrew language, the Hebrew letters of the aleph-bet. Yeshua said, I have things to eat that you don't know of. I don't need a sandwich. It's every word that proceeds from the mouth of Elohim. Hebrew. Dalet, dalal, to hang down. Bacharti, I have chosen. Yeshua was the chosen one. He was the one who came from the heavens to the earth, reduced, dropped down like a bucket to the bottom of the well to pick up the water and lift them up. So Yeshua is the dalal who came from the heavens, reduced in strength, reduced in appearance, reduced in regard, to be dropped down into us, the pit of vipers in the earth, who bit him and killed him, where he went to even the greater depths of hell itself, as the New Testament tells us, so that he could gather up like a bucket gathers water and lift those of us who would call on him, believe in him, and be his, jump in that bucket he provided, and lift us back up to the heavenly realm. So this picture of a well, which is also an ayin, which is actually also a bet vav resh, there's different synonyms. The deep well where things settle out and become clear is in recognizing Yeshua in every one of these letters of the aleph-bet. So here's the straight line right up the middle.
Wow.
And then you jump over here in this moose with the binoculars. Mem, Shin, Kuf, Pei, Shakaf. Mem, Vav, Ayin, Zayin, Yod. Ma'uzi, a people. Mem, Pei, Tav, Chet. To open up, that which opened, the key. Well, that has to do with this, this other picture. But the word Ma'uzi sounds like moose. And Yahweh said, if you had only taken hold of Ma'uzi, sounds like my moose. Because I'm playing off the English words, it's his citadel, his fortress, like a castle wall, the antlers of the moose. If you had only taken hold of that, everything I said would have happened just like I promised. But because we can't read, we can't believe, we can't get past the appearance of things, just like this snow, this schlag is covering, and we can't get past the appearance of the snow, so Yehuda couldn't get past the appearance of the iron chariots, so they lost the battle. We can't get past the idea that Goliath is 10 times bigger than us, so we failed to engage him. But a rock, an eben, a stone will take out the giant. Everything Yahweh said, if we would take a hold of the words, Mem, Ayin Vav Zayin Yod. Ayin Vav Zayin is where you get the word goat. Ayin Vav Zayin is where we get the word for courage, daring, splendor, radiant, glory. Think of who we believe in and what he said. But if you don't come back to his words, you can't remember what he said, and so what you left with is doctrine. You come back to the Hebrew words, and it's all going to make sense. So this is aleph, bet, gimel, dalet, hey. You drop down to here, there's a key on a piece of wood stuck into, what is this? Danger, tar pit, stay back. Tar means to search, play on words. Tar pit, La Brea tar pits down in Los Angeles. The animals went to get a drink, they got stuck in the tar, they died. Well, so stay back, stay away. So Sheken means listen. Tar means to search. Mem petov het mefetach is the word for key. So the key is nailed in this tar pit. The point is, make a long story short, Yeshua is the key. Yeshua was the one nailed, and yet the Jews are told, pay no attention to that man. He's an infidel. He's a heretic. He's despised even of Elohim, like Isaiah 53 says. And so the Jews aren't even allowed to regard the truth of their own Mashiach, and they've been lied to for now 2,000 years, just like we, those who were not born of Yehuda, but have been born of the Gentile world, the Goyim, the Christian world, the heathen pagan world, have missed out on the reality of what can be found of the truth, the key to it all, in the Hebrew Scriptures.
Is the aleph-bet.
The aleph-bet. The key to the mystery of the whole thing is in the aleph-bet. So here we are, wow. Aleph-bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Aleph-bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav. So now we have to get to Zion. Somewhere there's a weapon. Oh, here's a weapon. It's a whip. So you look at Petov, Hey, foolish, to be seduced and enticed. Pei-tet, Shin, Vav, Tet, has to do with a whip. I have to go quick here for the sake of this. What's after Zion? Well, Chet. Well, here's a fence. Chet's a fence. So here we came straight up here, then we come these three, and now we jump over here. Now here's something round. There's a tet. There's an excavator arm like a yod. Het, tet, yod. So now we swing up this way. Het is a fence, and this is shalal, and this is samik pei resh, which is the sefer. I won't answer the whole thing for you. If you read what each of these words are and look at what each of these things are, this is like until the time. There's a combination on the safe of something that's locked up. Het, tet, yod. Lines of instructions. Kaf, navigate the commandments. Kaf, now we're looking for a lamed. Walk the walk. Teach and learn. This ship is a boot upside down. This says Bet Kuf Shin Het Pei Zadi Yod, which is basically search out my desire. Teach and learn the instructions of the Torah. Find what Yahweh desires. Here's water, which is Mem. Kaf Lamed Mem Nun. So here we come up here, we come over here, we come up here. Here's the Mem. Nun is something that has like this tail, this stinger. Here's a scorpion. Ayin Kuf Bet, Ayin Kuf Resh Bet. Pei, Resh, Yod, Zadi. Look up those words in the dictionary. But like this scorpion tail, afternoon is Samik. There's a watchtower. Shomer, watch, keep, guard. And then, like the ayin, which is balancing of scales. If, because, or in which case, then this is what's going to happen. That's like that study of Ki. Aleph Mem. If, or on this account, when this happens, then that's what's going to happen. And he tells us to do certain things. So he told us, when the time comes, turn back to my words, and everything will open up. After Mem comes the Nun, the Samik, the Ayin, Pei. It opens up. The water falls. Mishpat, Zadika, the foundation of his throne. Everything has consequences. Ket Tav Mem, to put the seal on. Samik Tav Mem, to hide. And Yod Kuf Zadi, and it's the time of the awakening. Until the time of the end, it will burst forth like the butterfly out of its chrysalis. And then arise. So here you have Pei, Zadi, Kuf, like the mushroom shape. And then you come back over here, Resh, the flag on the mountaintop. Shin, like the shark, like the shriek. Shaddai, and Tav. So the shape, up the middle, 3 on this side, 3 on that side. Then 3 on this side, and 3 on that side. Then 3 on this side, and 3 on that side. It's a menorah. It's a connect-the-dot menorah. Arise, shine, your light has come. Be the menorah. Be, if you incorporate the concepts and the words that are in these alphabet letters as you go sequentially. Oh, I know what frog is. Okay, disregard. Oh, I know what pig is. Disregard. Oh, I know what that is. Free. No, become it. If you become sequentially what each one of these letters mean, you will become his segula, his treasure. Just like Yeshua was the apple of his eye. Behold my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. The word beloved is David, Dodi. And son is Ben, and Ben is Bet Nun. So one who embodies the action. Yeshua said, I only do what I see my Father doing. And he didn't have to look very far. It was right there. He said, the words are in your mouth to do them. And he says, I only do what I see my Father doing and speak what I hear him saying. It's these words. If we study these words, we will become like him. Nam Yahweh Zavot, because he said so. This word Nam is the absolute declaration. I'm going to grab that other one there. This one here says, Yod Dalet Ayin Vav. He knows. aleph-tav Tav Yod. My oath. Yoda. Oti. These are the pictures of the card game, or the cards that are available. This, Nam Yahweh, that's the back of the card. That's like the signet ring seal. The paleo, the pictographic, the number of what every letter is. The modern flame, the modern cursive, the petroglyph, the Greek, the English. And then there's a story in these pictures which tell you the whole story of what's on the treasure map. And the Mishkan pattern itself, correlated to every single letter of the alphabet. There's a big idea. That's who Yeshua is, Yahweh's first big idea. He came in disguise, Bet Gimel Dalet, from the heavens to the earth. Pilate, when he ripped off his earth suit, said, behold this man. As he ripped him apart and threw him into the tomb, Het Tet Yod, round rock rolled in front of the tomb, and the Roman seal put on it, but he said, no man takes my life. I did it myself. The first 10 letters is what he did. Kaf Lamed, Mem Nun, Samek Ayin Pei. 3 days, 3 nights in the tomb. Pei, mouth opens up. Zadi, the resurrection. He hung around 40 days. Kuf, arise, ascend, coming back. As Resh Shin Tav is a net trap or snare. The word Aleph Resh Shin Tav is the word betrothed. He's like a sickle, the Kuf. He's going to come back for the harvest of his betrothed. Here's Yeshua. We could go into more details. We did another video about that. My point is, Yeshua, the Mashiach of Israel, aleph-tav b'nei hamishkan. The word Mashiach is a little bit different spelling than Mishkan. But in Exodus 25:9, he tells Moses, make everything in the Mishkan, this Mishkan pattern. The word tabanit is pattern, but it's also beni, my son, in between mediating the signatories of the covenant. So here's you have 2 letters, tav, and my son, the mediator, Yeshua, negotiating our relationship with the Father that we've been estranged with, and it's all in the Mishkan. I don't want to get too carried away here, but the point about this is that in the negotiating, navigating the meanings of the letters is the map of our return that he promised he'd bring us back to the land, back to the language, in the wilderness of the nations, and I'll contend with you there. The word contend is actually nun petav het. And the word petav het, where do I have mishpat here? I thought I had to do here. Mishpat and Zadokah. He said Mishpat and Zadokah are the foundation of his throne. And if you picture a fulcrum point and balancing something, boy, how would you do that? But this concept of balancing, perfect. His throne sits on top of that. So the reign of his kingdom, when we say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, it's balancing scales. Everything we do is going to be returned. Everything every punishment he exacts out of his people by the use of an enemy, he said he will then turn the tables, flip the seesaw, pour out his wrath on the enemy, and give us recompense for everything. So the fact of the Holocaust, the Inquisition, the 2,000 years where everything's been hidden, like the melting of the snow. A related word with schlag means to pour boiling water and boil off the snow, clean off the snow, and restore the appearance of the truth. The point is, here we are. 2019, the recovery is at hand. We talked about this picture in another video. The engineered shape of the letter is the somic, the orthography, the shape. The meaning of the letter is the noon. Hey, this is the word for bush. Hey, somic noon, hey. He said, I took you out of Egypt on wings of eagles. Abraham means to lift up on pinion feathers, pinion wings. Yitzhak, hilarious laughter like fireworks, skyrockets. Yaakov means to lift up into the third dimension, where we get the word cube. Yeshua said, if I be lifted up, the way Moshe lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so the serpentine shape of the noon lifted up on some trellis, pole. Nas, nun samik, is also the word for wonder and amazing and hidden and to emigrate, to exodus, to pull out. It's also the word for banner, something you lift up. His banner over us is love. His nun samik over us is all in his love for us. To regard that Yeshua was lifted up, the way that Moshe lifted up the serpentine shape on the pole, if we can see lifted up like on these eagle's wings, his encrypted message in his aleph-bet, hey, what he intended to show in this language is expressed in the orthography and the meaning of the letters. The combination of those two things is what formulates this map so we can keep our eye on that goal and become his treasure according to Malachi 3:16. So, Schlegmeister,
Jawohl.
got anything else to say?
Well, I would say that one has to receive some undaunted courage, like Lewis and Clark, when Jefferson told them to go out and find a new route to the Pacific, and they went out and did it. Even Providence was with them, and if someone has the desire to do this, it will be an adventure just like that. That's what I think.
Open up his book. This modern Hebrew, write it down in Paleo. Get the dictionary, just write down the meanings of the words. It doesn't take that much undaunted courage, but it takes an attitude of wanting to be his people.
But every page gives us a treasure map.
We become the treasure because every page is part of the treasure map. You can look at any page in this Torah, in this Tanakh, in this, even the combined scriptures of the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, you can find the truth, and it's in the words. It looks like it's covered, but the truth is available.
You've been